Did. All right, catching up with Ryan Duffy after, well, what was a sensational win on Sundons Courage for a start. Mate, that must have actually been a little bit exhilarating. Doesn't he let down around the turn, that horse?
Yeah, definitely. Just obviously talking to Brad just then about it, you probably see him in races where they get home in 27.5, 27.6 and he makes a little bit of ground and people go, oh, he's a little bit plain, he doesn't like finding the line, but when they run along and he still gets home in his 27.8, he looks pretty impressive.
They train him a bit different too, and Brad alluded to that. Do you feel different? Does he feel different from time to time when he's on the track?
At times, obviously they know the horse back to front, and usually when you come here and they're pretty confident in the way he's going to go, he usually comes out and does something like he did tonight. So, they've got him down to a T, and sometimes you come to the races and they say, he's not quite ready, so we just tuck him away on the fence and get his confidence. So, yeah, it's a credit to them guys how well they've managed him.
Just one other thing on him very quickly. How funky is he walk to sit in? Because when you watch him walk around before the start, he's got this accentuated. Can you feel it something different in the card or not?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone sort of, I think it's a bit of a divided opinion. I've heard people talk on Trot's Vision about him and they say, at the sales you wouldn't buy a horse that walked like him. But to me, I think he walks with a bit of presence and, in the sulky, he really feels like he's strutting his stuff, I suppose, in the best way to describe it.
Anyone that says that's kidding themselves, I reckon it's a great walk. They want to wake up themselves. You need a bit of funk. Right, mate. Back from an enforced layoff. How long have you been back?
Coming up 2 months now, or maybe just over, maybe 9 weeks, yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously now I've got a little fella at home, so it's a little bit more difficult when you're on the road as much as what us guys are. But yeah, I really am enjoying my time back so far.
You come back with a bit of a bang too. How many winners have you had since you've been back?
Probably around 10 or 11 maybe. But yeah, just starting to get going again now.
Are you getting received well since you've been back?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, since you get caught up in something like that, you've got to try and sort of put it past you and move forward yourself. So, for me, it's probably more a relief actually being back and not having to worry about something like that sitting over your head. So yeah, it's actually probably more relaxing for me driving and less stressful, not worrying about something like that.
And it was playing on you. Anyone that knew you, especially towards the end, it definitely was playing on your mind. You could tell in your mannerisms and that.
Yeah, I don't think, obviously talking with other people around the industry, I don't feel that it probably affected my driving skills as such, but I think more or less it was the mental strain of going home and just not really knowing, you knew something was going to happen, but you just didn't know when, and over a period of 3 years or 2.5 years, I think it went on, it become sort of a bit of a strain on me.
Do you, how do you go when you're out, like learning, thinking about it? Like, did you go for a raft of different emotions, I suppose, while you're out?
Probably not too bad. Obviously, like I said, we actually had a baby about 3 months after I was outed, so I went back cabinet making and sort of just went into a different path, I suppose. I'm a qualified cabinet maker. I'd done that prior to my first drive, so going back to doing something like that, it was probably good for 6 months, and I sort of probably just distanced myself. I actually sort of stopped watching the trots for probably 3 or 4 months. Didn't even watch Dad's horses go around, so that's how much interest I sort of just left it alone. And probably the last 3 or 4 months, I just sort of found myself starting to watch races at Shepparton and watch Dad's horses, and all of a sudden my time was up and I couldn't wait to get back in the sulky.
I'm glad you're back. How was Mum and Dad? He had experienced one of the greatest highs, unfortunately, while you were out too.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, for them guys, it's not a race. I didn't miss that race. But yeah, for them, it's just an amazing feat and something that they'll never forget. So yeah, to see the success from, I think more or less the fact that they bought the mare in foal with him inside her. I think that was probably the most exciting thing for them, to have seen him from day dot to where he got to, yeah.
The old boy celebrated his 60th the other day too. That's how I feel old, because I can actually remember you a kid when I was a kid driving a horse for your old man, and I don't think he was that old either at the time, unfortunately.
No, well, that's it. He had a 60th, but he had it a year late because of COVID, so he doesn't count the other year, but he's actually 61.
We all do mistakes, mate. Like, and you've learned from yours. You're better for it.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously you've got to sit down and obviously talk with my partner and everything about that. How I've come back into the industry probably resembles the outlook we've had on it since being out. Obviously going to start pre-training and training my own horses, so it's a little bit different of a path, but for me, it just probably become a hard task to front up at the races every single day, and when things go wrong and you get fined and stuff like that, you can get pretty down on the whole scenario, and it's quite a tough industry when you're just driving. If you go to the races for 4 drives and you get fined $200 on one, you've gone there for $60, and for me, I probably found that the hardest. But as far as actually training, for me now, looking at it that way, is it's more of a guaranteed wage, and you don't have to stress as much to go to the races to drive one here and drive one there to keep everyone happy. So you just sort of can do your own thing and try and grow in the industry a different way.
Are you enjoying being back?
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be back, and like I was on Trot's Vision before and stated, for Brad and Chris to put you on a horse like Sundons Courage in your first 2 months. Well, I shouldn't say first 2 months. I had my licence back 2 days, and I drove him in a Group 1 here. So, for them guys to just support you straight off the bat, and everyone, obviously the trainers that I do drive for that have supported me and helped me get back going, it's just been a terrific thing for me, and I can't be thankful enough for it.
You might not be the number 1 ranked horse, but I mean, you saw Mum and Dad last year win the Inter-Dominion with Bonsell Benjamin. You're a live chance, and if he can make the final and the races run the suit, he can be as good as any of the best trotters going around. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, as far as actually him as a horse goes, I think obviously in the scenario that you've got the heats, the layout, it's an unknown territory for him. But with the Great Southern Star, when they had the 2 runs in a night, I reckon he really thrived off it. So I can't see it being a series that's going to really knock him around, and obviously Brad and Chris know him like the back of their hand, so I think that they're going to manage him really well. And if he can get through to a final and they run along, there's no reason he can't win.
Ryan, thanks for joining me, mate. Thanks for being brutally honest. Just out of curiosity, Gemma's your partner?
Yeah, Jemima. Don't call her Gemma, she might yell at you.
What does Jemima do for a living?
She's actually a hairdresser, but she obviously doesn't cut my hair.
I just had to bring it up. I'm not one to throw rocks at haircuts, but I just had to bring that up. Thanks, mate.
Too easy. Thanks, Paul.